Kia ora koutou katoa, no mai hara mai ki UFC on Sky ko Ravinder Hunia aho. It is fight week in Miami ahead of UFC 287 this weekend, where Israel Adesanya will make a bid to recapture the middleweight title against Alex Pereira this weekend. And Izzy joins us now from Miami. Kia ora, Izzy, and welcome to the show.
Kia ora, thanks for having me.
Look, first of all, how's it going in Miami? It looks beautiful where you are at the moment.
Yep, it is. It is beautiful. Weather's nice. It's hot outside, so the weight cut's just butter. And yeah, the vibe. It's cool to be back in Miami.
It always seems like a really exciting place to be, like really nice and warm and happy.
Very, very. I mean, look at the weather, the people, the beaches, and yeah, it's a vibe. But I'm outside. I'm having a look, but I'm not really, indulging in any of that right now because I'm focused on war right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, let's get into that, into the preparations that's been involved leading up to this fight against Alex. I mean, preparations will be a little bit different this time, coming in as the opponent, the challenger for the title, as opposed to being the champion. How has this been over the last 4 or so months?
Hasn't been any different, to be honest. If I'm being frank with you, it's I'm still me. I'm still Israel Adesanya. So people still know I'm a champion. They still call me champ. And the workload hasn't taken a back seat. It's always been on. So, yeah, hasn't been any different, to be honest.
How has it been since that fight? We were over there in New York. We obviously saw the fight and how it all went down. But in the last 4 months, how has life been? Because I'm guessing that it would be a little bit different without that strap around you anymore.
Nah, the belt's still at my house. So it doesn't really... The belt's still at my house, so it doesn't really faze me. I don't look at it. Actually, is it at Eugene's house? I think it's at Eugene's house. But yeah, it's just like I said, I'm still me. I still put that pressure on myself. I'm still Israel Adesanya, and that name Adesanya holds weight. So people still, put a target on my back and come for me.
I've always wondered about this challenge in your career, because leading up to Alex Pereira, of course, you had cleaned out the middleweight division. You were actually lapping the fighters in that division. And then Alex appeared, which presented a new challenge for you. Did it kind of spark something, or has it sparked something for you in your career?
Yes, it has. Having him come from my past to face me again, it's honestly one of the best storylines in MMA history. And yeah, even beating me the last time, this time it's definitely lit a fire under me like never before. And look, I enjoyed Christmas and New Year's with my family and friends, but anything that wasn't, in line with working towards the goal of this fight, I cut out of my life. Anyone who wasn't in line with the goals of getting to this fight, cut them out of my life. So I've been very focused on this. I haven't looked past this fight. I don't even, people ask me, "Oh, are you going to fight him?" I'm like, I don't know what's next after this. Everything is focused solely on this fight.
How has, a 4-month turnaround from, title fight to title fight, how important was it for you to have this rematch, almost immediately?
It wasn't really that important to have it almost immediately, but I know me, and I know, you look at the fight, I'm dominating the fight until I'm not. So we know we can beat this guy. But yeah, just for what I've done for the division, for what I've done in this game, the respectful thing was to give me an immediate rematch, and I'm glad the UFC obliged.
What changes this time, Izzy, in your preparations for him, if anything at all, after facing him now, knowing what to expect? You've felt him, you've smelt him, you've seen him in there now. So how does it change this time as opposed to the last fight you had against him?
How it changes this time is me with my hand raised at the end of the fight. How we get there, you have to stay tuned, watch this weekend and find out.
Nice one. Another thing that stood out for me in New York was after the fight, and I think I mentioned this to you in the press conference after the fight, was, your team looking, visibly distraught after that loss. And it kind of felt like it is maybe an eye-opener to, the kind of team that you have around you when you're preparing for fights, and the journey that, not only you but the gym has been on in this, lead up to these title fights. So, do you take stock of the kind of team that is surrounding you for these big moments?
100%, and that's why I bring them along. New York was historic. We had 4 fighters fighting on the card. pretty much running MSG. So I brought a gang of people to New York. First time leaving the country for some of them. And this time I kept it a little bit smaller, but there's people that have helped me in my career that I feel like they need to at least experience the energy and watch a UFC fight live out of the country at least once in their life, you know? So for me, that's my way of showing gratitude to those who have invested so much in me. And yeah, we're a tight knit team. We really give a fuck about each other. When I win, they win.
Absolutely. Look, after that fight against Alex, I mean, what did you take away from that fight? Because we know that even in defeat, you take away a lot of lessons. So what did you take away, not only as a fighter, but as a man who has been in this game for a little while now?
I took a lot away. From that fight. One of the biggest compliments I got was from my mom when she called me a week later and just telling me how proud she is to be my mother for the way I carried myself after that fight. You know, that was one of the biggest compliments of my life. And she just rambled on the phone for about 3 minutes, showering me with blessings. And that meant the world to me. So, yeah, I took a lot of lessons from that fight, but those are my lessons. And yeah, I put that to myself.
And then you mentioned that you were able to have Christmas and New Year's. Obviously, that would have been with your family in tow as well. So how important was it to get that grounding as well, especially ahead of a big fight?
For me, it's been a while since, because normally I have a fight in February or end of January, so I'm always training through Christmas. I'm not able to go home or even enjoy New Year's. So for the whole family to be together and enjoy Christmas as a unit with some extended family, that was beautiful and that was very grounding, and it filled my cup definitely.
Were you helping with Christmas dinner? Were you doing the dishes with your siblings?
Man, my mom told me to sit down and enjoy myself, so I listened to my mom.
Oh, that's so nice. And of course she would. Of course she would. Loving having her boy there with her for Christmas. Look, in terms of Alex Pereira after that last fight, what did you learn about him?
I learned that he has a strong spirit, but so do I. Um, he had his moment like I did in the Gaslam fight, and I know who I am. That fight revealed to me who I am, and yeah, I'm gonna remind people who I am.
Absolutely. Look, I spoke to Eugene not long after that fight, and he spoke about, you know, when we face Alex again, that it just has to be a flawless performance, that we can't make any mistakes. What are your thoughts on that? Because, you know, it's easily, you know, said rather than done.
I agree 100%. I have to be perfect. I aim for perfection, but this time I'm aiming right at him, and I'm gonna be flawless.
And finally, Izzy, what are you wanting to show this weekend? I know that you have shown a lot over your years, not only as a fighter, but as a champion. But what are you wanting to prove, maybe not to anybody else, but to yourself?
My spirit, my fighting spirit. Alex is in for the fight of his life this weekend, and I mean that in every sense of the word when I say the hunter is now the hunted. Be careful what you wish for. He has what everyone else wants, but like I said, fuck the belt. I'm not here for the belt. I'm here for his head.
Nice. Well, you know, all of us here at home will be watching, and we wish you all the best for UFC 287 this weekend.
Bless you. Thank you, Ravinder.